Shut up,
yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
Okay, we are
quick
now
filler.
live. We are now completely live.
Hey!
Hey, at least I think I am. It does say this video is private for some reason. Okay.
Oh, you can easily change that in stream settings.
Yeah, no, it's already in.
But even if
Okay.
it's live, you should be able to change
Okay, all right. No, we are actually live.
Yay.
Okay, all right.
Yay.
No. Sorry, everyone. As we all know, we are all, it's usual pre/post, what's it called? Streaming. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining. I just want to say a very big thank you to Atheist Pastor, aka Chris, Osmond Cometh, aka Osmond, Nacho, which is Nacho. Everyone should know who Nacho is. Sarah, who is also a very good friend of mine. Sam, and there is someone that I'm missing, Mr. Bear, who has just dropped out. I don't know where he's run off to. Probably
and ruined that lovely configuration.
Yeah.
I know.
We don't have Mero in the middle anymore.
It was half an hour to set it right, and then
yeah, and then it just dropped out. Okay, so we are all Aussies here, despite Sarah's accent. She's also Australian, as far as I'm concerned. And one thing has happened, and I'm not sure, you might have heard of something called COVID-19. Has everyone heard of that?
Can you please let me know what that is? No.
Yeah.
Here in Victoria, we haven't heard of it.
No, none whatsoever. Doorknob makes a very good point. He's a drop bear. Sorry.
Well done.
Mr. Bear is currently now a drop bear. Anyway, so COVID-19, as we all know, is a very, very deadly disease that is going through the entire world. And 2 months ago was the last non-community spread instance of COVID-19 in Queensland. So we had opened up our opened everything up. We were going back to normal, social distancing, blah, blah, blah. But overall, we were doing really, really well until we found out the other day 2 girls, and I've actually heard there's actually a third girl that might
3
be
girls,
also.
yeah.
Yep, 3 girls has actually decided, yeah, you know what? Quarantine laws don't apply to us. So we're going to fly from Melbourne, which I will get Sarah to explain what's going on down in Melbourne. We'll fly from Melbourne in Victoria to Sydney, which I will let Chris explain what's happening in Sydney, and we'll go to Brisbane, and because we won't put on our passes that we've been in Melbourne, we will end up, just skipping hotel quarantine laws because, they don't apply to me. And guess what? They've all come down with COVID-19, which means that we've got quite potentially another outbreak in the Brisbane area, which affects most of us in this chat right now. So I think maybe we should probably start with Sarah because the outbreak started in Sarah's area of the woods, and then we can move to Chris as well because there's a little bit of a thing going on in Sydney, and then the rest of us can just bitch about those 3 girls.
First, before we begin, just need to apologize to Sarah. You are going to get shitted on the absolute most, so I apologize for that.
I am doing my part, and that is another thing. Like there was a huge lockdown a few months back, and everyone was doing their thing. You go out and you barely see anyone on the street, but once they opened up, people started living forgot the virus is still out there, and you still have to be careful. And that was the main problem. People are just living normally, not realizing that you still have to be careful. You still have to wear a mask when you have to, and keep distance. But people are idiots, and all of a sudden now we are where we are now. So because after the government realized that we were getting 200, 300 cases a day, the government implemented a huge lockdown again. But until you see the effects of this lockdown, it's going to take a couple of weeks. So all those 2 weeks where people were just going out about their day normally, that is lost, and the virus is already completely spread. And I read there is even an expectation of Victoria being in a lockdown for over a year, even up to 2 years, completely separate from the rest of Australia because of it. So yeah, unfortunately, that's it's people are just careless. And yeah, I'll go out and catch a tram to go to work, and it would be packed, people without wearing masks. It was obviously, if there was one infected person in there, the whole tram got infected. So it's really down to the carelessness of people. The government did its part, but the people didn't respect it.
I also have to say, I'm sorry I didn't say hello to all of the people in the chat. I do see a couple of names that I recognise. So we've got Fred Harvey, Mark Caesar, Vibrantly Brantley, Vandalia, Lavender Lady, Sandra Visior, Donna T. There's a lot of people who are who I've seen on my chat. So thank you very much. And for people who I've just missed, I apologise. So I just want to say thank you for coming. And yeah, have fun listening to us all rant. So yeah. And so Chris, what's going on in Sydney at the moment? And then we'll go back to Sarah so she can explain a little bit more.
So I guess first thing I'll say is, fortunately for me, I'm south of Sydney. So I'm a city called Wollongong. We're fine. I can actually travel to Queensland. I can jump on a plane tomorrow and come and visit you all. I'm not going to, but too much. Sorry, you got too much COVID up there now. Okay, so what happened was there was and once again, this is coming back to Victoria. There was a delivery driver from Victoria. Now, the rules are delivery drivers are allowed to come and do drop-offs and go back. What this driver did was, rather than stay where he was meant to stay, went out and had drinks at the Crossroads Hotel. As a result of that, a stack of people got infected at the Crossroads Hotel, which is a fairly large hotel in Casula, which is in southwest Sydney. From there, someone went to work at a Thai restaurant, and we've got all these clusters. So we had we've been pretty lucky, and we've managed to contain it fairly well in Sydney. Sydney's a little bit different to Melbourne. Melbourne's a lot more compact than Sydney. Sydney's a lot more spread out, and Western Sydney's almost like a different city. Like, it's, even though they're connected, it's basically a big metropolis. It's like having two different cities. So we've been pretty lucky with that. So I think we had 30 cases the other day, and I think we were down to 17 today. So we're pretty fortunate here. But essentially all of Sydney's now been, like, you can't travel. If you live in Sydney, you can't travel to Queensland. We've closed the border to Victoria. So if you're a Victorian, you just cannot come to New South Wales anymore.
I don't think they can anyway.
But to clarify, and like Sarah was saying, when this all happened, everyone in Australia pretty much did the right thing, and we almost eliminated the thing. Like, we did such a good job as a community. And what happened was, in Victoria, they had some security. There was some dodgy stuff happening with security guards, where there were security guards that weren't showing up or didn't exist that were getting paid. A couple of the security guards thought it would be good to have some relations with some of the people in quarantine. As a result, then they get COVID, and then they go and drive an Uber or go and work at a pub and disobeyed the rules that they had for working there. And from there, then it spread to the protests, spread to the towers. But at that point, it spread so far that Victoria is now in the mess it is, where they recorded over 700 today.
I think the where it started here. Well, there was during the lockdown, there was some issues in north side of Melbourne, in a McDonald's. That was spreading a lot near a McDonald's.
That was from
those who are from
that was
Melbourne.
From one of the towers. Yeah, that was one of the family tower families.
And then it started spreading on some retirement homes, and I think that's where the security guards started spreading, because the security guards were working in this retirement home, and they started working in
No.
other places, I think, wasn't it?
No.
Security
So
guards for hotel quarantine,
Yeah.
like people that
From
were supposed to be
hotel.
self-isolating from
yeah,
hotel.
Right.
the people traveling
Okay.
back. Yeah.
Because I don't remember if the whole retirement home. From what I remember, there was somebody or some people who were spreading from that place, and they had to shut the whole thing down. It was pretty scary. Like they
Yeah.
had police in front of it and shut the whole thing down because a lot of
That was from the Greek
coming out of
community.
that.
It was a lot of the Greek retirement homes. It sort of spread through a couple of Greek families and then into the retirement villages. And the sad thing is, they're the most vulnerable people. They're the ones that get affected. When people say these security, look, as far as I'm concerned, these security guards that did the wrong thing, they should be bloody charged with manslaughter. The ones who have done the wrong thing and spread the virus, they've killed people. Simple as that. Lock them up, throw away the key. There's no excuse for that, just because they want to get their rocks off. And vice versa, the people who are in quarantine who have done the wrong thing, same to them. It's not just the security guards. It goes both ways. But then it just goes to show how quickly this thing can spread. Like it's a couple of people doing the wrong thing, and now we've got 700 cases today, which a 3% mortality rate. That means that 21 people who have contracted it today are probably going to die. And that's just
not
today.
accounting for the the damage that it does. That's just lifelong.
Yeah, well, the thing
people
is,
that recover, they don't completely recover in all cases. They end up with terminal damage to their lungs and respiratory system.
well, the thing is, and I'm probably because, I'm a scientifically minded person, and I've followed this reasonably closely, not as closely as some other people, but I've followed it really
You're not
closely.
a scientist. You're a conspiracy theorist.
I seriously am. I'm not a skeptic. I'm a conspiracy theorist. Complain. Robert X, I'm sorry for scaring you. Anyway, so what was I saying? So the thing is, COVID-19, does everyone understand how a virus works? Or do you want me to sort of give the very, very bare basics? And how it spreads within a body?
I think everyone's becoming an expert in pandemics at the moment.
All right,
Probably a good idea to go over it.
I'll go very quickly. Okay, so in your cells, on the surface of your cells, you've got something called a receptor protein, and basically it is what it says it is. It's like a doorman or a lock and key kind of thing. And what happens with the virus? It comes in and it has to try and inject its RNA or DNA, depending what type of virus it is, to go into the cell. And that what it does is hijack the cell's machinery to turn, so it stops making cell DNA, but instead viral DNA. Anyway, but it requires requires something called the receptor protein, which is that lock and key or the doorman that lets in the virus. And anyway, the reason why COVID-19 has been causing lung damage, strokes, diabetes, heart attacks, kidney damage, it seems to cause a lot of damage all throughout the system, is because there are receptor proteins on the surface of all human cells that it uses to infect the cell. So that's why it's attacking all the epithelial cells, which are the cells that line the organs. It's sort of like the skin of the organs, basically, of the epithelial cells. That's why it's just attacking everywhere, because these the receptor cells are found on pretty much every cell in the body, and that's why it's systemic throughout the body. And that's why lungs, there's permanent scarring on the lungs, there's kidney damage, there's neurological damage, there's all sorts of things. So when you hear these people going, oh, it's only 2% fatal, so it's 100% morbid. You've got 100% morbidity. 100% of people who are going to get this virus are going to get sick. So let's stop concentrating only on the people who die, which I'm not saying that's not a bad thing. Of course, it's a horrendous thing. But having permanent injury to your body because some dipshit thinks it's okay to fucking break quarantine.
How do you really feel?
I think I'm perfectly fine. So I'm just.
I think she's going easy on them at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Oh,
is.
don't worry. I'm gonna
Oh,
get,
we haven't even got going yet, have we?
we haven't even got me
I was
going.
gonna say, wait till you see her in a bad mood.
Yeah, no, I'm happy.
Okay. Yeah, I want to bounce off that. What's the There's something in COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2 called the R0 rate or R0 rate, where it basically it tells you how many people one person can infect.
Yeah.
I think it has to do something with multiplication. I think times 100 or times 10. I think.
Yeah,
Something like that.
I'm not too 100% sure what's going on with that. But it is
I thought
basically.
it was like, isn't it the calculation of if one person has it, what the expected amount of people they'll spread
Yeah.
to?
Yeah.
So as long as it's below 1, the numbers shrink. When it's above 1, the numbers grow.
Yeah.
And at the moment, not ours, SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19 is sitting at anywhere between, what was it? It was sitting anywhere between 2.79 and 3.28.
So it's highly contagious. To put it into perspective, I think, and this is going off the top of my head, so I'm probably wrong, but I think measles in an unvaccinated population, like a naive population, I think it's like 13, which is why you should get your injections and your vaccines, because that's if one person in a naive population gets measles, then I think it's something like 13 odd people will get it as well, and that's how quickly, and it's exponential as well, exponential growth. Sorry, Chris.
Jenny McCarthy, who would be an expert, said that causes autism and vaccines are bad. She would.
Yeah. That's what you call a naive population.
Yeah.
But that comes from, I'm thinking.
But tish.
I was trying to figure out how to get that in there nice and organically.
Smooth. King of smooth.
So, Sarah, how's it like living down in Melbourne at the moment, other than wanting to strangle every single person you see?
Like, I just stay home and go to work. So, but it's not like the same. It doesn't feel like the first quarantine. It didn't feel like everyone was home, and it really felt like a lockdown. This time it really doesn't. Like when I go to work, I go out, I still see a lot of cars driving around, a lot of people moving around the city. I live in the near the CBD, so it's like it's still normal. It doesn't feel like it's like it used to be. And if people keep going on about their daily lives normally, this thing is not going to stop. Now their masks are compulsory, so hopefully it will slow down. But even so, like I'm very disappointed that Melbournians, because people are acting like shitheads, totally.
And one of the things we do need to worry about is complacency, also with fatigue, lockdown fatigue. And this is kind of expected, because, people are just like, I am sick of this and I want to go back to normal. And that's understandable. It's wrong, but it's understandable. So
yeah, but I think we've all got to make a decision, and realistically, we can either live with this thing still hanging over our heads, or we can do our best to eradicate the thing. Now, when it all started, we made a decision in my household that even if we disagreed with what the government advice was and we didn't like it, we were just going to go with it. We were just going to follow it, and we were just going to do our best. And that seemed to be what everyone did. I mean, there was that first day where everyone went to Bondi Beach, and then they said, right, now we are locked down, and that's that. And it seemed like we all struggled through it, but we all did it. And I remember like going and having my first beer out after the lockdown. It was probably the best, and having a burger, it was the greatest thing I'd ever done. And there was that moment of appreciation. But I've been out recently, and I've left places because people just don't social distance.
Yeah.
It's people are just It's like this thing happened and then everyone just conveniently forgot it. We've got to. We just need to. We're lucky in Australia. We're lucky. We're in an island. We don't have bordering nations. We can eradicate the thing. We've virtually eradicated the thing before. The only reason that got back in is because someone bought it from overseas, and a security guard decided to
Get his end wet.
Have their way. And that's it. And then all of a sudden, it expands there because one person, or two people, sorry, did the wrong thing. It's as simple as that. Like, we can eradicate it, and we've shown that. I mean, New Zealand almost eradicated it, and same thing. A couple of people did the wrong thing, and bang, there it is, and it spreads. But we have the ability to. In Victoria, they're going to have high rates, but because of the lockdown, hopefully that should start to drop as people are sort of following the lockdown. It's a lot of what we're seeing now is just the result of before the lockdown. Hopefully that will slow down, so long as everyone does the right thing. It's when people are going and having parties. And I hear that the anti-maskers are planning on having a protest in Melbourne this week. It's absolute idiot. No one should be protesting anything at the moment. It's in Melbourne especially. It's just, you know what? This is the time to just do the right thing for the human race. Even if the anti-maskers are right, okay? Even if they're right and it makes no difference, okay? So what? What if they're wrong? I'll throw the old thing. What if you're wrong? Okay? You could be right, but what if you're wrong? What are the consequences? The consequences are people die.
One person that I find hilarious that I'm often picking on Twitter when I see, because it's so stupid, is Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro lost a tweet. He lost a tweet about masks, that masks are ineffective. There is no. It's not that he says they are ineffective. He says there is no evidence to support masks. Blah blah blah. But then the next tweet he said, "Yeah, but me and my family, we wear masks." So fuck you, dude. You're just trolling. You're just fucking trolling. So
I hate that man with a friggin' pen.
He
has the worst takes.
You have people coming.
A massive announcement there, Sarah Michelle. The massive announcement in Shapiro is hypocrite.
What was that? What was that, Bear? You sort of dropped out a bit.
Yeah, getting red, buddy.
I think he said it was a massive announcement.
It was just a announcement there by Sarah.
I didn't hear that. Sorry. It's cutting.
Yeah, you're dropping in and out, mate.
Sorry, I'll try again.
Okay.
Hang on.
It's even worse this time.
I did pick up what he said. I think he was having a bit of fun. He said, "You've broken a big story there, Sarah. Ben Shapiro's a hypocrite." Shocking. Hey, look, I'm on the right, and I can't stand Ben Shapiro.
It's just so like
it's annoying.
If you're gonna start questioning, like, he has a big platform. You're gonna start posting that there is no evidence of masks, blah blah blah. There are no evidence that they are effective, which is all bullshit.
Yeah, check that first, then tweet.
Dangerous.
Maybe.
No, but that's the thing. The next thing he says, yeah, but me and my family, we wear masks. You're just fucking trolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that trolling will kill people.
It's very
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, sorry.
You go.
Hey, Mr. Bear, are you done being a drop bear?
Okay, so we've covered Victoria, Melbourne.
But can you hear me okay now?
You're heaps better. You're heaps better, yeah.
Hello?
Hello.
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 Hello. So we've covered Melbourne and we've covered Sydney. Let's cover Brisbane. And who's the most angry? Oh, unless you wanted to say something, Mr. Bear, now that we can actually understand you. Okay.
It's not Mr. Bear's day.
No. So, who's the most angry? I had a bit of a rant.
The only thing
I'm
Mero-
guessing you're
Mero-
the most angry, Mero.
Yeah, Mero's angry.
Let's, Mr. Bed, you tried saying something again. We talked over the top of you. Do you want to say something?
Hello. Sorry.
Hello.
I don't know what's going on. I think I've got connection issues and other
You
issues.
seem good now.
You're good now.
Okay.
Did you want to say something?
The only thing I was going to say was in relation to Sarah, Michelle, was that it's hard to not give the idiots a platform, the anti-maskers a platform. You try not to expose them too much on Twitter and other places. It's really hard to avoid them.
Yeah, especially when they have a huge platform. They have like hundreds of thousands of followers.
Yeah.
They're bullshit. Well, like Donald Trump Jr. was talking about demon sperm the other day, so that's kind of things out right now.
I'm sorry, I missed all of this. I just see on my trends demon sperm, and I'm like, I am not touching that with a 50-foot fucking pole. What the fuck?
Well,
So,
okay.
I don't know.
That's the
I am
Trump
going-
helicopter.
I am going to do a bit of plugging. I am going to be doing on a fairly regular basis. Oh yeah, fairly regular basis with Scientist Mel. Basis on with Scientist Mel on This Week in BS, and we're probably going to be talking about that. To be honest with you, because it's just ridiculous. The stuff that she said. So for those people who are interested, I will put a link in the description below. Or actually, Amiga Nuts, could you look up Scientist Mel and do a little bit of shelling for her, please? If you're willing to, I would greatly appreciate it. And also, thank you to all of my mods as well. So, yeah.
This hurts.
Okay. It's painful. So apart from me being the angriest person, because I've already ranted, who else wants to rant about those fuckwits coming up into the
So-
Queensland?
There's one thing, right, with the immediate risks and stuff. But what actually sort of got me a little bit more angry this evening was I was walking home and I was going past, and there's an oval near where I live. And you know what's been really great over the last few weeks since Queensland sort of entered the stage 3 or 4 or whatever we're in of the relaxation? People have been playing sports there. Kids have been playing sports there. They've been back getting out there, being able to do the things that they love. And it just reminded me that there's a pretty good chance that our lockdown's going to become a lot more strict to counter this if we start getting more community transmission, and just all the things that people are going to have to give up because of these 2 Muppets, probably 3 Muppets. Like, you think of everything that affects. That's, you know, kids in their first year of school, kids in their last year of school, people that are going to uni, people that are trying to get married, or people that are in the unfortunate circumstance of having to, you know, mourn lost loved ones. And these 2 had a party in Melbourne, lied about it, and now that's going to be at risk for everyone. And that is just fucking, like, I have no empathy for them. I have a lot of empathy for a lot of people, but for these 2 idiots, I hope that the justice system is swift and fair and makes it so that the social repercussions aren't made worse for them if people feel like they got away with it. Because if people feel like they got away with something, their life is going to be a lot more difficult than it will be otherwise.
Yeah,
Really, they can't stay in Brisbane. There's zero. They cannot stay.
They won't be able.
They need to go to prison for a good amount of time so that when they come out, everyone's forgotten about them and they can fade into obscurity and try and make the best of the rest of their life.
Like, just for example, you said something about, you know, kids going back to school and stuff. I was supposed to graduate this year because final year of uni, got three more subjects to do. All 3 lab-based. Can't do
That's
them.
gutting.
Same. I had 2 to go. Yep.
Yeah. In the lab or just online, or can you do it online?
I do prac teaching, so that was put to the wayside.
So
Yeah.
it's a bit,
This is why everyone should be like me and do a humanities degree.
Because
Okay.
we
So
don't
I've got
need
something for this.
Yeah.
I've got something for this. A engineer wants to know how it works. A scientist wants to know why it works, and a humanities degree wants to know if you want fries with that. I have a humanities degree. It's all right. I'm allowed to.
Yeah. So the thing is,
That's fine. You can joke about it.
I just want to know if you want the fries or not.
yes, please.
Peri peri salt.
So this, like, you know, it's sort of, the thing is these potentially three people have just probably cost our economy millions of dollars, depending on things. And personally, my personal opinion is that we should go into stage 4 lockdown laws right now for the next week and a half to find out what's going on. I even though it's probably wrong and here's me freaking out, because I work in disabilities and most of my clients are vulnerable and will probably die if they get COVID-19.
See, we didn't go into stage 4 here in New South Wales after we got the Crossroads breakout once again from a Victorian doing the wrong thing. Our cases, we've managed to contain it. I mean, we dropped a few things back. So it's the amount of people who can go into a pub have dropped back. Anywhere you go, you've got to sign in to go into, so they can track things. They're doing sewage testing. I found out today, so they're testing.
I saw that.
Sewage,
Yeah.
Which I would hate to have that.
They found
job.
poop at Threadbow that had COVID traces.
Which worries me because I was in Krakenback.
I was going to say, were you at Parish or at Threadbow?
Yeah, a week and a half ago, but apparently I think we're fine. But still, if I get a sniffle, I know where I'll be. But I don't think you need to go to extremes, and that's the thing. I think there's certainly precautions that have got to happen. I mean, look, packing 50,000 people at Suncorp Stadium, probably not a good idea. But you can do. I mean, you can have things where you distance and you're sensible about it.
See, that's the risk, though, is that's not happening on a practical sense when you're out and about. Like, if I'm going to Woolies and stuff, I guarantee you that, like, I'm giving more than a few people filthy looks when they sort of shuffle past me within, like, breath's distance. Because the 1.5 meter rule, it doesn't exist out in the wild. It doesn't exist when you're trying to get to work. It doesn't exist when you're going to the shops. Like, and Brisbane as well. Like,
I was going to say, keep in mind, you've had no cases. So
that's the problem is we got really complacent. Like, even I got a bit complacent when it's like, oh, there's no community transition. My risk is really low, so I'm happy to go out and, be a bit more adventurous going out on the weekend and stuff. So the other thing is with Brisbane is we're a lot more centralized as a city, so we're not as disparate as Sydney and Melbourne. And these people, like, they've been, at least one of them who's been forward with where they were in the last 8 days or whatever, they've been to South Bank, like they've been to the center of Brisbane. So that's going to have transmission potential to everywhere in Southeast Queensland, which is concerning.
And that actually brings up a good point, because of them that have done the wrong thing, only one of them is cooperating.
The other one is specifically refusing to cooperate.
Yeah.
Like that. This is why I've got no empathy for them. Like, it is just evil that they are not concerned about that.
Yeah, and also they also went down to Melbourne to steal from high-end shops. That's why they were handbags or something. They went down to I was like, really? Oh, that's a little bit weird. And then it's been confirmed by several outlets. So several news outlets. So yeah, these people went down to Melbourne to steal some stuff, have an illegal party. Allegedly, had an illegal party, flaunted allegedly.
Well, I don't think that's alleged. That's been reported that they were fined by the police.
You know what? If for some obscure reason they get off, let's not, just for the sake of saying allegedly.
Let's say allegedly, yeah. But it is not alleged where they deliberately flaunted quarantine laws. That's not alleged. It happened, which is why they were. Yeah.
Oh, on my previous home, my housemates broke quarantine laws. I was pissed off. It was one of the reasons why I left.
I can bet.
Fucking asshole. Like, didn't ask his housemates. He just invited a couple of couples. So there was like about 6 people.
Are you serious?
Strangers in a fucking house in the middle of a quarantine. I was so pissed off. So
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I would have been too.
so irresponsible.
It's selfish. It's freaking selfish, and that's what this whole thing is. I mean, look, any of us here, we're all reasonably healthy people. Okay, you know, even if some of us have got a few things, we're all young enough that if we get it, we're probably going to get over it. But the problem is, it's those people who aren't healthy. It's the elderly. It's the vulnerable in society. They're the ones who are going to suffer. All because, and you know what? These girls, they wanted to go and party and do whatever they wanted in Melbourne. That's fine. They can go and do that. They're entitled to do that. But when they go back into Queensland, they fill out the form correctly and they say where they've been and they quarantine. They don't go to work. They don't go to the college that one of them works at and give it potentially to a stack of students there who are going to go and take it home to their parents and elderly grandparents when they give them a hug. You know what? If one single person dies because of this, they should be charged with manslaughter and they should get the maximum bloody sentence, because what they've done is selfish. That's what it comes down to. These girls are selfish.
Yeah. And
My case,
you go, Sarah.
as I said, as Chris said, I am healthy. You know, if I get sick, I'll recover it. But my coworkers, one is 65 years old, and the other is a guy with asthma. So that's what pissed me off about my housemate. Because like he's being
exactly
such
right.
an irresponsible dickhead. I could get sick, and I could eventually kill my friends at work. Like,
And as I said, I work with people with disabilities. And pretty much all of my my clients would die if I did it. So not only would I be out of clients, like financially, I genuinely care about all of the people I support. One of my clients who would likely die if he got it, I've been working with him for as long as I've been working with this company, which has been almost 5 years, and we've become really, really close. So imagine like knowing like, and also I know it wouldn't be my fault, but because I'd be like all, you know, aware of it, but imagine how guilty you would feel as a person passing on a disease that would kill someone you care about.
You know what? For people like us who have got empathy, yeah. I
that word
doubt
was
the
ringing
empathy
in
of
my
these-
ear as well.
of these other idiots.
Yeah. And
I
look, there's a
think
big
it-
elephant in the room that no one else is going to address.
Geez, I
There's a
can
massive
leave if you
elephant in the
want.
room.
I'm losing weight, mate. I'm not that big. Come on.
Go ahead.
And it's not to offend anybody, but how does COVID affect Botox cells?
No, let's
Well,
not.
if nothing else, this proves that
No,
it's
don't do
plastic
that.
purposes, right?
Ooh, actually, no. Chris or Osman, can you bring up a photo of these girls? It is on the thumbnail, but you probably can't see the thumbnail at the moment. Please show us what these two girls like.
I know I went there, but
And you have
yeah.
every right. We have every right to shit all over these people.
Yeah, let's not
Well,
attack their
well,
looks.
it's
though. That's
I know attacking their looks, but seriously, I have, as you said, very little sympathy.
well, to be honest with you, for one split second, I thought Nicki Minaj decimated Queensland there for a second.
Yeah, it's like we shouldn't attack looks, and you're right, Chris. You are absolutely 100% correct. But
How they choose to look might be a little bit more okay for criticism, though. To be fair,
no. I think there's a lot of things there's a lot that we can rightfully attack them over. Let's not go there.
Yeah.
Let's be better than that.
I agree. I do agree.
I agree. I've been victim of this shit recently, so yeah, that's not right.
I'm
That's okay.
going to be the resident.
I'll take it
justice
back. Sorry, it was a
warrior
cheap shot.
There you go.
Look, it's just I don't know. There's.
I will bring up something that is interesting. Here's today's Courier Mail, which the Courier Mail is the Queensland newspaper, or I guess the main one in Queensland. Enemies of the state. So that gives you a bit of an idea on the attitude and the thought and the love people have for these two.
oh, if you want to know that, go to Reddit. Go to reddit.com/us.
Yeah, I think Reddit would do better. I think
That's where you get the
because-
people's view.
Yeah,
It's hilarious. It is really funny.
I can imagine.
Courier Mail is not the best media outlet, and it's very, very
Fair and
it's-
balanced.
no, not at
no.
all.
Well, let's put it this way. Thanks to Sam, I spent 5 minutes on Reddit, and I was just like, okay, that's enough internet for me today.
Hey, if you can take Twitter, you can take Reddit. In my experience, Twitter's a lot worse than Reddit.
Yeah, but we did learn about a person cutting off another person's testicles, so you know.
Yeah, and then there was hilarious comments that made that really
Yeah,
funny.
the comments were
And
funny.
it-
though.
For that to come up, actually, that was another.
It was
interesting prison
consensual, so you know.
Yeah, it's true.
story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, a consensual fetishized castration.
Not saying
Yeah.
it should have been legal still, but it was consensual. so-
at least it was consensual. Yes, that's brilliant. But
This is
yeah,
nuts. Still makes me laugh.
he dropped his ball.
There's a lot happening north of the border, actually.
What was that? Sorry.
There's a lot happening north of the border, actually. There's a Instagram
colourful.
influencer who's promoting herself, and there's the Willy in the fridge incident. Yeah, there's a lot going on up there.
I think that's the
Hey,
same
what?
guy
It's
that did the
Queensland.
castration.
I mean, we are talking about the state that gave us Bob Catter and Pauline Hanson. I mean, come on.
The smart state.
Yeah, and Joe Bjorky Peterson, or however you pronounce it.
Oh, good old sweet
Uh,
Joe. And
Yeah.
Clive Palmer. Queensland gave
I
us
was waiting for him
actually,
to come up.
no, sorry.
Yeah.
Clive was born in
Yeah.
Victoria and then went to Queensland. So I'm just going to.
Oh, well, then he's not out.
Well, there you go. It's just, stupidity spreads like a disease.
So long as New South Wales is safe, I'm pretty happy.
You're not.
You're in the middle of
Because
this.
we've got Queensland
You're in the middle of
It's
this.
like clowns to the left of us, jokers to the right, except it's north and south.
Oh, it depends on
All
which way
wearing
you
the
look
same
at it.
sandwich.
Okay, Nacho, what's your personal opinion on these people?
No, fuck idiots. I mean, let's face it, you guys have pretty much covered all the bases, so yeah, they're fucking idiots.
Yep. No, I think that's pretty correct. It's you're not wanting to rant some more or anything, or is that just as far as you go?
That was my rant.
Okay.
I even
rant.
said a couple words. I don't know. As I said, you guys have pretty much covered most
Sometimes
of it.
that's all you
Like,
need.
You know,
And like we are bitching about
fuck them.
COVID and shit, but we are having it so easy. My parents are in Brazil. I really feel bad for them.
Oh, it's pretty bad over there, isn't it?
It's awful.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They are on peak for 8 weeks, I think.
Wow.
Wow.
It's not going down. It just doesn't stop. Because there is a combination of people being total dickheads and the
Terrible.
government being completely incompetent. It's very sad. My parents practically don't leave the house for several months now.
Hmm.
It's lucky they have a backyard, they have dogs. My brother drops by, but my brother is also being a bit of a dickhead, not being careful. My parents have to tell him off the other day. People are just forgetting that, people just get distracted and stop being careful, and that's when it starts spreading. So yeah, it's pretty sad what's going on in Brazil.
Yeah, I think it gives us a little bit of perspective, even though we've got the mass outbreak in Victoria at the moment, and there's outbreaks, smaller outbreaks in other parts of the country. We have gotten through this pretty well. Like we've been very, very fortunate when you compare it to how the rest of the world's sort of dealing with it. I mean, the United States is a basket case. China's not much better. India's got huge outbreaks, and I mean, when you've got huge population centers like they do in those countries, and Brazil obviously as well, it's we're going to
It's a
see
very different beast over there.
Yeah, we're going to see this year. We're going to see death on a scale that we probably haven't seen since the Second World War.
I think it's worse than that, isn't it?
I know.
we'll
I
see.
know. COVID-19 has killed more people that more Americans than Vietnam. I'm pretty sure that's happened.
Yeah, I think.
But the thing is, we won't know. We won't know about the total deaths until 5 to 10 years from now, where they can actually go back, look at the worldwide deaths, and look at the spike. And that's the sort of. It's probably I'll go on a bit of a tangent, but I think we pretty much covered everything that we needed to cover anyway. So, but I just really want to bring up anti-maskers.
Dickheads, they're called.
Them too.
In other words, yeah.
Yeah, they too are fucking idiots.
First of all, and I'm probably preaching to the choir. Masks stop the aerosols. Okay, aerosols. They won't stop the viruses because we're not trying to stop the viruses. The viruses are much smaller than the aerosols. Quick, for people who are really not convinced, sneeze into your hand. Look at your hand and see, are there any goobers? Are there any, is it wet? Is it
gobby?
what? Yeah, what's going on your hand when you sneeze into your hand? Then put on your mask and do the same thing if you can. And have a look at your hand again. I think you'll notice that it's a hell of a lot less wet and a hell of a lot less goobered. That's what we're trying to stop.
Scientific
We're
terms.
yeah, the goobers. Yeah, that's the scientific word, is the goober. And that's what it's trying to stop. So if you sneeze, talk, cough, whatever, it's stopping stopping the aerosols. It's not going to
Stopping
be
the
able
vehicle that the virus is driving.
pretty much, yeah.
Well, I was just about to ask that. And why do we need to stop the aerosols?
Because the viruses are in the aerosols. The viruses are very, very small, but the aerosols are much larger than the virus. Also,
There's actually a really good Conspiracy Cats on his other channel, Baldy Cats. He did a mask video where he was mocking anti-maskers as well. And he goes through the science and he sort of points out where, I think it's 50 to 80% reduction in transmission of aerosols when you're wearing a cotton mask, even though they're rated for not as much as what a virus is. They're rated enough to stop, or your spittle from infecting someone else.
you goobers. Remember, it's a
Goobers.
scientific term for goober.
It's the accurate description. Yes.
Goobers from goobing on the others.
Well, we
Mark-
were watching that video with that Karen from Melbourne, the one that goes in the bars. She is a complete lunatic. Seriously.
And
Yeah, I think there's a few things going on there.
And thank you so much, USA, for bringing that sort of attitude along. I mean, I'm sure there's some people probably will come along with that, but
Yeah.
I don't give consent. I don't give consent.
Yeah, the sovereign citizen bullcrap is just beyond the pale.
That's being tied up with the anti-maskers, I believe, from what I've seen.
Yeah. They've all got their little, this is what you say to the police and read it out. It's all bullshit. It's legally, it's inaccurate. It's
That
just some fuckwit
The
on the
law has
internet.
been put in
Sorry about
place.
language. Some clown on the internet wrote something out and they all believe it. Why don't you believe the
Most likely.
doctors?
yeah.
They're templated. No matter where you're from, you'll sort of read the same script, and it'll just swap out the place.
Yep.
So here's a funny thing. Chris can bring it up, but as we're talking about it, apparently there's a fucking cult in Australia of anti-maskers. And I think I sent in the article for it. But there's a bunch of people as a cult for anti-maskers.
Is this the one in Melbourne?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
What the
They're
hell?
meeting in a gym. There's about
Yeah,
50. They meet on Saturdays.
Oh.
Well, hopefully no one else is in the gym.
seriously.
Well, it's still illegal
Well,
in
this-
Victoria. You still can't have a gathering above, 10? Is that
Oh,
right?
no,
Yeah.
I was thinking so much darker than that.
Oh.
But yeah,
Mark-
Chris, if you want to share that.
Oh yeah, I don't want to share it, but I will. That's
Okay, I'm just gonna before you do, I'm just gonna answer a question by Mark Caesar because how do we assess COVID deaths? Many deaths occur from COVID or Alzheimer's or whatever that aren't a direct cause of the actual cause. So there's multiple ways depending on who you are, where you are, whatever. And that's why I'm saying we won't actually have an idea of how many people have died from COVID until much later on, because you're right, there are people who are going to die of COVID, but they have some sort of condition that would exacerbate it, such as asthma or cancer or something like that. So what they'll end up doing basically is in 5 to 10 years' time, they will look at how many people worldwide died over the course of this disease, because it will eventually finish. This disease will eventually run its course, and they will look at after the course has done, and they will crunch the numbers by using the previous couple of years worth of deaths, and then they will go, this is how many people have died, and they will also look at in the future they'll look at how many people have been tested positive, and they'll be able to try and figure out roughly, going by how many people have died. They take off the baseline for the previous couple of years. So they'll get the COVID-19, the death rates for, let's say, 2020, and they will look at the death rates from 2018, for example, and then they will basically subtract it and go, this is how many people have died from COVID.
Yeah.
It's that's really, really simple way of doing it, but it's got to be a hell of a lot more complicated, because things such as like deaths by car accidents have dropped significantly because people aren't driving. Accidental deaths have dropped because people aren't going out and doing stupid shit, hypothetically. So that's basically how they're going to figure it out. But there's a lot more statistical analysis. It's a lot more complicated than that, but that's basically what they're going to do. And using that, they will also be able to figure out the death rate of the percentage death rate of COVID-19. So far, we're roughly around about 2%, 2 to 3% of people have died, which is significantly higher than the flu. COVID-19 is not a flu. Stop saying that. Yell at people who say that. It is not a flu. It is not an influenza virus. Stop fucking that.
Get it out there. Come on, you're holding back.
And so also, as I said earlier, there's a lot of things that COVID-19 affects. So the reason why they make sure that they put COVID positive on death certificates, even if it's something like a person who's had a car accident, they died in a car accident and they're COVID positive. It's not that death is not attributed to COVID, but one of the symptoms of COVID is things like brain fog. So if somebody has died from a car accident and it COVID-19 could have actually been affected by could have affected the car accident, or a person could have just had a stroke and they lost control of their car, or if there's things that you might think, oh, it's completely unrelated, actually might be related to COVID-19, which is why it's important that they note that person has tested positive to COVID-19. Anyway, that's why.
Yeah, so this story is interesting. They have an anti-masker support group from the looks of things. They all get together and cram together in a Melbourne gym where I'm sure they're not passing the virus on, and talk about how to resist the police and all this kind of stuff. So the guy who's running it looks like he's a guy called Nick Patterson. Nick, you're a dickhead if you're watching. And they're talking
You're
about
a fucking idiot.
Yeah. What's Sam think? Eve Black is Karen from Bunnings. So, Eve, you are an absolute gullible fool. If you believe the crap that you're reading on the internet instead of what the actual medical experts are saying who went to university, studied this, and know what a virus is, as opposed to the arse clown on the internet who also says that that masks are a sign of the devil. Yep, because that's actually
don't believe in doctors who talk about demon.
doctors.
Don't
What
believe in
do doctors know? But the person who's putting out all this
Their surname is
conspiracy stuff that
Emmanuel.
this Eat Black is following has come out and said masks are a sign of the devil. It's like it's the 666. Like, give me a break.
So I find this all a really interesting example of while it's really easy and fun to sometimes be like, oh, look at those flat earthers. Aren't they cute? Isn't that funny?
At
And
least
like,
killing people.
but that's the same mindset. They're using the same tools to get to the anti-masking that people use to get to flat earth. And like, it's very easy in normal circumstances to be like, oh, conspiracy theorists, they're all cute. They're all a bit funny. They're all a bit wacky. But when we come to these types of situations where it is really important that everyone's on the same page, it shows just how dangerous it is for people to just be so ill-equipped to assess information that's in front of them. And the internet has made it way too easy for people to cherry pick what they want to understand and what they want to believe is true and not actually look at what is actually accurate and comports with reality. And that's pretty scary to me.
Yeah. No, I was having a conversation with Sarah. I do think that certain social media, Google, they need to start looking at possibly like suppressing that information. And Sarah's like, no, free speech is absolute because, you can go on a slippery slope. So we do disagree with that kind of thing. But I do agree with you, Sam.
Not quite.
Not quite.
In this case, where that irresponsible information about COVID is going to cause deaths, I think it's irresponsible to leave that information go around, like these conspiracy theories that can cause people to die. With the QAnon thing, I am not against Twitter boycotting that shit because it can lead to people getting doxxed. It can lead to people getting a lot of trouble in their personal lives. People who did nothing. There were people who died because of that.
I've got a friend whose partner's mother, I'm not going to dox him, but she has been sucked in by the QAnon shit. And she got to the point where she was like, you're brainwashing my daughter. I'm going to kill you in your sleep. And that's while she was staying at their house.
Wow.
Like she was a guest in their house. Like that's how toxic this stuff is for people and how much damage it does to like families and like, I think as long as the process is transparent, companies like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, they need to be suppressing the information, but they need to also not just suppress, hey, they said COVID, demonetize, delist, suppress. They need to be able to tell the difference between debunking and like addressing the inaccuracies and correcting them. And the people that are just like, I'm not going to wear a mask because it's Satan. They don't seem to do a good job at that.
I think
the problem that you've got though is you can. Sorry.
I think the Geek Room had their channel blocked because they were responding to a stupid video. So that is a huge problem with YouTube. Like they couldn't broadcast for a week because they got a community strike for responding to a video.
Yeah.
So
I do think Google does need to employ more fact checking people. Like with YouTube, it's all automated. Like it's all absolutely 100% automated.
It's all the algorithm.
Yeah, and I can see why, and I understand why, but they need to.
Really
honestly, that shows, doesn't it, with what's being propagated and spread around.
That is absolutely fucking adorable.
She loves my glasses.
Apparently so. I think where you got to be careful is it's one thing to say let's ban this stuff, but all that happens then is that plays into their narrative of, oh look, it's we've got the truth and the big whoever the evil is in the conspiracy is trying to. So you got to be mindful of that. I think for private companies, I think they can do whatever they want. If it's Google, Twitter, at the end of the day, they have the platform. I was saying this on a show today. With Twitter, if they want to block things, if they want to silence things, hey, They own the company. They can do whatever the hell they want. If they want to silence things, I don't think there's a moral obligation necessarily, because I think there is an argument as to whether you drive that stuff underground and censorship.
Well, just
No,
on that.
I think having it easily accessible to people is what's actually making it more reasonable for more people to access. I think it's literally doing more damage to be like, hey, let them have their platform, otherwise they're martyrs. But we're at the same time exposing more people to it, and that's what I think is, to me, that's the priority. But I can understand why that might not be what you see.
People who fall for this kind of stuff, though, are likely to fall for it regardless. Like, they're going to hear it if it's not there, because I mean, you've got to have a certain mindset to buy into this.
For me, the main points that I had and why I made a video when Stefan Molyneux, I don't like Stefan Molyneux, but I made a video criticizing his ban because it was unfair. Like, the platform has to treat everyone fairly and abide to their policies. So if they say we are not allowing QAnon conspiracies to be spread, if you make a video spreading QAnon conspiracy, that is, whoever you are, that is going to get a strike. But the point is when it becomes arbitrary, and then they allow a news channel spread bullshit, like a Fox News spread bullshit, or even, you can have CNN spreading lies and bullshit. But then if an individual creator does it, you get a strike and gets the platform. Like, that arbitrary standards that they create is that pisses me off.
I think the difference there is a Fox News and the CNN News, they're broadcasting on their own platform, whereas
on YouTube.
No, they've got accounts on Twitter and stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But I just want to try and bring it back a little bit. We are slowly steering off course. Just slowly.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, drop bear.
So that's what that is.
So that's a good point, Osman. So frankly, let's just finish this up by just talking a little bit about some of the things that we have. Some of the things that, like, how is it going to affect Queensland? Because how is it going to affect you, Sam? How is this, if it does turn out, like, what have you seen the past couple of weeks? Because we haven't had a community spread COVID case in 2 months. I was
sitting there watching the active things daily, thinking, oh, we're down to 3, we're down to 2, we're down to 1. Can we get to 0? Not quite, unfortunately. I understand how it's going to affect a lot of other people in terms of, like, it's going to affect the tourism industry. They are fucked now. Like, we are not going to have people crossing the border from Victoria at all. So much of New South Wales population is in the Greater Sydney area, so that's going to fuck them even more as well. And I feel really bad for them. And, like, look, honestly, the way it's going to affect me the most, and this is very first world problem, is I'm not going to be able to go on my little holiday that I was going to go somewhere domestically, because it's just, like, at the moment I've got to wait and see how this all shakes out. And, like, that's my personal cost, I guess. But
did you know, Sam, that there's direct flights between Brisbane and Wollongong, and Wollongong is the tourism capital of the South Coast?
See, my problem is that I just want to. I've got my eye on Uluru. There's some really good Jetstar deals, and I haven't been to Uluru, and it's going to be really quiet because there's not going to be many tourists. But, like, I don't want to see something happen in Brisbane where it's like, shit, the borders are going to, like, have forced 14-day isolations while I'm away or something. And at the moment, it's a little bit too volatile. That's really selfish, but realistically, like, me and my partner, we stay at home. We go to work. I'm lucky enough to still work 2 days from home, and my work is, like, within walking distance and not in the CBD. So there's a relatively low chance of transmission for me personally. Got to watch out for those bubble tea places, because apparently our 2 friends visited a lot of bubble tea places while they were.
Why am I not surprised?
But yeah,
bubble tea is
I'm
delicious.
mostly,
I will say bubble tea is delicious.
I tried to get some after mentioning it this afternoon, but my local was closed, and I was pretty sad because they're still on limited hours. But yeah, for me, I'm okay. It's not going to affect me much. I'm just angry that it's going to affect so many other Queenslanders, and yeah, I'm shielded from most of the effects because of the nature of my work, and yeah, and I'm already a homebody that stays home and plays computer games. So
Okay.
Um,
So, sorry,
will-
Sam. Sorry, Nevada, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, you're not the only person I've come across that's complained about not going on a holiday. I know.
I was meant to go to Japan. I was meant to go to Super Mario World, which was opening in Osaka this month, and I was going to go in
I know all
October,
about
and
that.
that's why I've got money on Jetstar. I've got $1,200 credit, which I've got to spend somehow. But anyway, so
well,
angry about
actually, I know somebody who was like, "Oh, I was supposed, I've been saving up for like a decade. I was going to go to Japan, to go with somebody, and I haven't been able to go because of this, and I'm pissed." Which is fair enough. I'm being fair enough. And then he was like, "We just got to open up the economy, like screw all the people getting sick." And I was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Well, at least you're able to get your money back." And he said, "Oh yeah, I was going to go with somebody, and the way they were going to split it was he was going to get the
someone buys the flights and someone does the hotels.
Yep, that's what they did. He did the flights. He got his money back. She did the hotels. She's not. She can't get the money back.
Okay. If you go to Japan, do not pay for hotels up front. Go to a booking site that does free cancellation and always book free cancellation. I've been in Japan 9 times. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Just for the chat. There's a hot tip for you. I used to be a travel agent. Believe me.
Yeah, so she did that, and she's not going to get her money back. And he said, "Well, she hasn't mentioned this yet, but I can't. I think she's going to ask if we can go halves in that." And he's like, "I'm not going to do it." And I just went, "You're a motherfucking selfish cunt."
Yes.
Like that's
how you
literally
lose
what I
travel
was
buddies.
thinking. Yeah,
If
I was
someone's
like,
willing
you
to
know
travel
what?
with you, that's worth something to me.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was very, very. I'm just like, well, she just saved us. She just saved herself. She dodged a bullet. What a selfish cunt! Because I was like, you could go and you can come back and you could end up spreading it to thousands of people. And he's like, I don't care. I'm like,
Wow.
fuck. And I said, I think you're selfish. And he goes, yeah, I don't care. I don't care what you think.
I
And
bet
then
they
he
would
I got my money.
care. I bet they would care when they get arrested.
I bet they'd. Well,
Maybe that. Maybe.
or dead.
Be easy to get face masks over there.
Sam, 2 questions. 1, what the fuck is bubble tea? 2, earlier in our conversation, why the fuck are people putting coffee in tea?
All right, so bubble tea, also known as boba tea, it originated in Taiwan, and basically it's any type of tea you can think of being mixed with any type of other flavoring. So there's strawberry, chocolate, coffee, there's taro, you can get rice in it. It often comes with tapioca pearls, which is what it's called. That's where it gets the bubble name from, because of the little pearls. And it is like crack if you get into it. It's very popular in a lot of like Asian communities and stuff. Like that's where they sort of spread from, but now you sort of find them all over the place.
It's pretty damn tasty.
There are more bubble tea shops than 7-Eleven here in Melbourne.
Yeah,
that's
it's
also
pretty damn tasty.
I remember getting some of that in Melbourne. And it was just, hot damn. Every hour I had to get one.
They taste more like their flavor than their tea Osmond. So if you don't like tea, you might still like boba tea if you get one of the flavored ones.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Delicious.
Tastes more like chocolate milk if you get the chocolate one than it does like tea. So
And the bubble things, they're pretty tasty. They are pretty good. I am a big fan. Yeah.
But second question, why are people being blasphemous and putting coffee with tea? Like actual coffee with tea?
well, because they like to have
Bubble tea.
2 things, and that way they get to have 2 things in one refreshing drink, and they have to pay for one.
Because they're Vietnamese and they're just weird.
It's like peanut butter and chocolate, like Reese's Pieces, but it's a drink. It's
I'm
coffee
gonna
and
pull a
chocolate.
nerd
Coffee and
thing
tea, right?
here, and you 2 are gonna get it. You and Chris are gonna get it, but fucking heresy.
It's pretty good. I usually I am not a tea drinker, but it's actually pretty good. I drink coffee, but bubble tea is amazing.
It's more its own thing than a type of tea. So don't let not liking tea put you off trying it at least once.
Yeah, you got to try it. Nacho, how is this lockdown going to affect you if you're willing to talk about it, you can just say no. Fuck off.
Well, we're already feeling a significant decrease in work. I'm a high-risk category, and I do a lot of work for randoms all over the city. So if I pick it up, I'd be pretty fucked. I don't know. It's not good. Yeah.
Osman, are you willing to share how, if there's an outbreak in Queensland, how this will affect you?
Yes, I am, but I need to ask, does anyone else want to go before me? Because mine's going to be long-winded.
That's
and possibly
true.
very loud in volume.
I'm prepared to sit back and enjoy the Osman show.
We'll come to you later. What about you, Mr. Bear? I know you don't live here in Queensland, but
poor thing.
what would,
I do miss Burley Heads. Well, it is spreading through southwest Sydney, which isn't too far away from where I am. And the thing is, we knew a second wave was coming. What's happening now is that my kids are more worried about it than we are, because they're at school. So they're the ones coming home more anxious than us at the moment, because they have grandparents, who they're very close to. So it seems to be impacting them more than us. I'm angry about what's happened now, because that second wave is just going to get bigger.
Chris?
It's frustrating.
Chris?
Yeah, look, it probably affects me in that I won't travel to Sydney. I'm about half an hour from the outskirts of Sydney where I am. Business-wise, look, my business primarily was doing digital marketing for pubs and clubs. So you can imagine what happened to that when all this broke out. So I had to expand into other areas. I was going to Sydney and picking up work and picking up new clients there, which has now stopped. Which I've stopped because I just won't go to Sydney. I'm not prepared to risk it because my wife and my oldest daughter are both severe asthmatics, and we just can't afford to get it. Look, it hasn't been too bad overall, though. I mean, I went on holidays 2 weeks ago down to the snow. We're reasonably good and safe where I am, but I'm also mindful it takes one person.
Sarah, how has your life been affected since there's been that outbreak in Victoria?
For me, it hasn't really changed much because my job, the only thing that has affected is the procedures. So now I have to wear masks all the time, but it hasn't really affected much for me personally because I work catering and it's a residential place. So people are still living there, so it didn't really change anything. So, yeah, for me, it hasn't really made any actual difference.
I work with people with disabilities, and the majority of the time, I go out and do community support, which is basically go out. We might go shopping, we might go hanging out places, and they're not considered to be essential. A lot of my clients are essential in the sense that I need to get them in and out of bed. So I will, if this does turn out to be a big thing, I will probably lose a little bit of hours, but I should be able to survive like I did last time. But I lost a lot of work. I lost about 50 to 60% of my hours when the first one hit.
Wow.
And that also means that I might end up losing more hours again in the future. So fuck them. I will be sending them my lost paycheck.
Actually, can I quickly just jump in on something? And it's something that I think there's a lot of people who are very quick at the moment to attack politicians. And, I think it's what we do naturally. I think at the moment, regardless of what side they're on, I think we need to give the politicians a break. I'm not on the same side of politics as Daniel Andrews. In fact, we're polar opposites. But But I'm looking at that man, and he is stressed, and he is working his backside off. I don't think he's sleeping. Look, there's some things that
Agreed.
there's some questions that'll have to be answered afterwards, I think. But for the moment, I think we need to start cutting. Whether it's Morrison, whether it's Palaszczuk, Berejiklian, Dan Andrews, whoever. I think we need to just cut these people some slack and let our leaders lead.
Yeah.
Criticize the hell out of them afterwards. But at the moment, I think we just need to be kinder, because I think regardless of what side of politics they're on and whether we agree with things or not, it's just looking at Dan Andrews today, that it just struck me as there is a man who is aging at a rapid rate because of the stress he's going through and the pressure that must be on him for what's going on in his state.
There's nothing that he can do will be the right thing as well.
No, there'll always be someone to criticise.
Although I will say that, Anastasia Palaszczuk, which is the Queensland Premier, she did not want to open up the borders, and she was being absolutely freaking hammered by and then all of a sudden the outbreak happened in Victoria, like within a couple of weeks, and I'm like, so that was really polite of you to apologize and to go, hey, that was a good point, wasn't it, media? I think you did well in apologizing to her. Oh no, you didn't. It's just like there was not pardon.
The media wouldn't. They're just
and even like other. Yeah, it's sort of like she deserved an apology, in my opinion, and I have a snake that really wants to go away. Yeah.
There was advice to say that the border lockdown for Queensland wasn't necessary. I think in hindsight that was inaccurate. And look, it's I'm someone who I love the New South Wales Premier. I love Gladys Berejiklian. But I'll sit here and say I think she was, especially in hindsight, I think she was wrong when she said that the border should have been opened. At that point, no, I think it was the right call. I think Queensland had a really good run with it, and the only reason that there is an outbreak in Queensland now is because of these idiots, these three idiots. That's it. That's the whole reason. But no, it's and once again, Palaszczuk is not on the side of politics that I sit on. But I think that she's done a reasonably good job. I think that she's had to make some unpopular and tough decisions. I think history will probably be very kind. I think history will be kind to a lot of our leaders. But yeah, I think we just need to. I think we all just need to give them a break. But politics is a shit of a job anyway. It's they're working long hours, they're getting criticised. Everything they do is wrong. But at the moment, this is when we're relying on them. They've been elected to do a job, and we need to let them do their job. We just need to rely on them and let them actually,
do their thing
without everyone jumping down their throat. And there's some of these stupid reporters wanting to, they're having a go at Daniel Andrews today because, well, why isn't there anyone from health? Such and such from the health department. He said because he's having a day off. He's entitled to a day off. And people are doing things that are more important than talking to the media. Right? It's just the media.
The media are vultures.
They're entitled little shit.
Everything is for clicks with the media. The way they're acting is absolutely disgraceful. They're spreading fear and they're spreading misinformation. And it's all for political agendas. The politicians aren't doing that. Even the politicians are agreeing. Scott Morrison, who is a Liberal leader, came out and said that he thinks Daniel Andrews is doing a good job, and he commended Anastasia Palaszczuk for blocking Sydney out of Queensland. If the politicians can all get together and agree on different sides, and even Anthony Albanese, I'll take my hat off to him. What he has said is, even if we don't agree with it, for the sake of the country at the moment, we're just going to pass the legislation. We're going to let it get through. That's the kind of leadership that I think should be admired. Now, I'll never vote for Anthony Albanese, ever. But I absolutely admire the leadership he's taken. I admire the leadership of Morrison, of all of the leaders that we've got. I think they have all stepped up to the plate. Yes, there's been some mistakes. You know what? No one's perfect. And all these armchair experts, none of them can do a better job. I think just let's be kind to the politicians for once.
Yeah, but
Says-
and
says the politician.
it says the politician. But also, let's just take a step back and just be grateful we don't have someone like Bolsonaro or Trump, because yeah, like that's
Here.
not leadership. Yeah. So
Correction.
Osman,
We
Yep.
have Pauline Hanson.
yeah, but
she's not a leadership.
Yeah,
She got
she's
no
not a
power.
leader. No, she.
She's another politician.
Osman, can you tell us before we wrap up how will, if Queensland goes back down into another lockdown, how will that affect you?
Well, Mirror, you are a disabled care worker, and I am disabled myself. I'm not your client, but I am a client of carers. That being said, I have multiple implications in regards to me getting COVID-19. Even though I'm only 32, I could possibly be the baby out of everyone here. I could die, quite simply, straight put. Because COVID-19 has lung issues, they have bowel issues. I've already got freaking diabetes, so it could just complicate the diabetes. I've got heart issues. I'm overweight, morbidly so. I've already got cranium issues due to my hydrocephalus. So and it's attached to my stomach. So if COVID-19 and I get it complicates anything with my gut, I could be brain dead. So I can die in a million ways in one, quite simply. So to put it simply, if it doesn't kill me, it's going to seriously affect me to the point where I'm laying down voluntarily to help my wounds. If it doesn't kill me, I will be bedbound physically to the point where I won't be able to move. But that's on the light end of things. And I don't want to make it all about me, but you know what? It has to be said. All right, content warning, time for Aussie to rant.
That's what we're all here for.
That's what we're here for.
These
We're here for you.
absolute,
All right. First of all, everyone get a drink.
yeah, get a drink. Don't actually do this, but every time I say fuck, take a drink. Don't actually do that, because if you do, you'll be poisoning yourself within
Use
10 minutes.
Use
Is
water.
that not medical advice?
Well, actually, yeah. If you actually do this, you'll be poisoned within a minute.
It'll be Death by Ozman rant.
Oh, but yeah, these two absolute fucking cunt muffins. They're just scum, absolute scum of the fucking earth in every regard. They have no self-regard for anyone, no self-empathy, no empathy to speak of, no compassion, nothing like that. They don't care about anyone. They've gone through, tried to steal in the first place, allegedly, from top-end designer bags, which, let's not beat around the bush, those people, they hire labor, possibly child labor from internationally, allegedly. And, well, they just tried to take from the top to begin with, and allegedly they had a party. They got fined for that, allegedly, and they decided to fudge their details in the travel records and go across 3 entire states worth of people. That's people like me, or elderly people, or disenfranchised people that have complications. They've endangered 3 states worth of people. And my honest opinion is, if any one of those people die in those 3 states, those 3 twat waffles deserve to be absolutely thrown into jail. At minimum 2 years per death. That's my opinion. They need to be thrown in jail, the keys thrown away for at least a good 2 years per death, and they deserve to be ignored. Like whatever's happening here in the media right now, the exact opposite needs to happen because they're just riding off the notoriety and infamy. They need to be completely forgotten about. They need to be completely wiped from people's mind because that's what they want. They want the fame. That's why they tried to steal from the top designer bags. These people are scum. They're fucking reprehensible. They're irredeemable. They're cunts.
I won't say irredeemable. They are 19. They're just fucking idiots.
Well, yeah, I'm probably over.
They need to wait to their mid-20s at least.
At least, yeah.
And look, we all did dumb things when we were 19, but the difference here is
we didn't all do evil things though.
this is absolutely putting people's lives at risk. And look, everyone, no one is blind to what COVID can do. We all know who's vulnerable in the community. We all know what it can do. They had absolute knowledge, and the thing is, and Oz brought up a good point. They've travelled to Queensland. They've gone through New South Wales. They've gone through Sydney. I'm sure they didn't drive directly. They've stopped somewhere on the way. So it's
there was 2 flights. So there's 2 full flights of passengers.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yes.
I thought
So that's how they got around the border because they stopped in Sydney and they didn't get out of the airport. They got straight onto another plane, and so they didn't actually have to do any of their declarations in Sydney. So Sydney didn't pick up that they were in Melbourne. And when they came to Brisbane, they just lied about not going to Melbourne.
Dickheads.
And in context,
premeditated.
well,
That's ridiculous.
Any 19-year-old,
That's actually premeditated.
any 19-year-old could have been forgiven back in March.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Sorry, Mara.
Okay.
Sorry.
So Jimmy, I just want to point something out. Coming up next week, I will actually be releasing a video on the way we have been on things like calling COVID-19 as the China virus or Wu flu or whatever like that.
Kung flu.
And Kung flu. I was very tempted to delete your comment of diabetes. I have Wu flu does get scary at times. I just want to let you know I'm not going to delete that, but I'm going to call you out on calling it that because it is actually extraordinarily racist. And I will actually be releasing a video on it. I'm writing the script right now as to why calling it Kung flu, the Chinese flu, whatever. The main reason why we shouldn't call it the Kung flu is because it's not a fucking flu. But at the same time, it is extraordinarily racist. And I will actually be releasing a video next week about the reason why it is. So please do not call it that because it basically outs you as a complete and utter cunt. So just
it is.
sorry.
And in the beginning, it had actual impact on people here being discriminated for being Chinese. It's disgusting.
Yeah. So I know it sounds funny and ha ha, but it's not okay, and it's not okay at all. I mean, as I said, it kind of outs you.
Trump death or Trump virus is okay.
It is okay. It is a bit different between Trump is a little bit different though. It is a little bit different because
Trump's not a protected class, like race or.
Trump is not a race. No, definitely.
No, and it's and considering Donald, America has was it like the 10th was it like a tenth of the world's population, but a quarter of the cases or something like that?
Yeah, that's not necessarily a Trump issue. That's more a way the US is set up with the 50 states issue.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're the leader, you take responsibility. Manager of the company, responsible for the company. President of the states, responsible for the states.
But don't forget, he doesn't take responsibility.
Oh no, he doesn't. Look, Trump's not a good leader.
If he was doing a good faith effort, I might defend him, but he's not. So he
in this case,
the whole weight.
Yeah, I'm happy to. I'm happy to criticize Trump where it's warranted, but I'm mindful.
Coronavirus handling.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit little boy who cried wolf. If we keep crying wolf, then when he does something...
I'm sorry, it's not crying wolf with Trump, with the way he's handled the virus and the way he's constantly undermined his own health experts, spread tweets with incorrect information. Like, that's well-deserved
It's 50 different sets of rules. It's the states that actually control it. It's different to how it is here.
Okay, this is off topic.
I understand that, but that doesn't
This
mean
is-
Trump's
you're
not
right,
responsible.
Sarah's
We
right.
might
Yeah.
Stop.
But
Stay
this is a bit off topic, but I want to ask Chris a question because I think I understand, I don't understand conservatives being okay with Trump, because conservatives are usually about responsible government and responsible leadership. Trump is the opposite of that. He's so
No, Trump's not a conservative. Trump,
Yeah.
No, but conservatives are supportive of him in some
yeah,
aspects.
in the US.
I think that's the question.
Conservatives in the US are different because conservatives in the US are dominated by religion, whereas actual proper conservatism is very much, you know what, just let people do what they want to do. It's almost very libertarian. So it's like, look, if I were in the US, I would probably not. Well, I wouldn't be a Republican if I was in the US. I wouldn't be considered conservative there, but I'm considered conservative. I'm economically conservative, socially liberal, which is what most of us are.
Yeah.
To be honest, that's pretty much. I don't vote here yet, but I usually probably would vote for the Liberal Party here. I know most of you hate me, but I'm not.
No.
I'm not
You've
kind of
got a
right.
new fan.
I am gravitating the
There's
center.
no hate here.
Pretty much.
I mean, you can be wrong and we'll still like you guys. It's all right.
Yeah.
I
All right. Well,
Leave Sarah alone. Sarah's
You
worked
can
it
be
out.
wrong.
All right, let's wrap this up. Thank you very much. It was a very interesting conversation. It was good hearing all this, how this thing. I was expecting it to be a little bit more ranty, but we kind of kept it under control, thankfully. So let's start from the top and go in a clockwise direction. So, Chris, who are you? What are you? How are you? And why are you?
Well, hang on a sec. I just got to say one thing.
Okay.
Mr. Bear, do you like your new name?
Yeah, it's very appropriate for tonight, isn't it?
Sorry, I had to do it.
So drop bears are real. So I'm Chris Atlee, also known as
Proof
Atheist
at last.
Pastor. You can find me on my channel, Atheist Pastor / Chris Atlee. I think the links are down below. I do Friday Night Six Pack, which is where 6 people get together and solve all the world's problems while having a couple of drinks. Click the link, and it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe to me. So if you don't like me, you can always unsubscribe. It's a good deal.
Are you still being followed around by your boyfriend?
Which one? Oh, Darth.
Yeah.
No, Darth's gone missing.
Are you okay?
Look, I'm a little bit worried.
Oh,
I'll be honest. You know, I sort of
Sweet
thought, you know, Darth doesn't call anymore. You know, I don't hear from him. You know, I'm a little bit concerned. But no, Darth's gone completely off the grid. So yeah,
We'll find
that's
out
all right.
soon.
That's all right. It's when where there's Darth stepped out, there's plenty of other people who like to come and troll me. So it's okay.
Yeah,
There's
fair enough.
always Christians who really, yeah. I had one who discovered one of my old videos, or who knew of who I was, and they're like, "Oh, we know who you are." I'm like, "Yeah, no shit. Go and watch the video where I out myself. Like, my name's there. Google me."
Here's
All
the
right.
playbook. Go watch it, buddy.
All right, Osmond, who are you? What are you? How are you? Why are you?
Sorry, I just had a little bit of a net hiccups. Can you repeat that?
Who are you? What are you? How are you? And why are you?
Okay. I'm Osman, your local Queensland smartass, and also weeb and nerd. I am very flagrant with my language, though tonight has been very relaxed, except for around. I am a streamer, I'm a gamer, and coming up, I am going to be interviewing a musician who has been doing a lot of political music videos called Casper. If you want to hear one of their songs, it's I think it's a hymn for the quiet Australians, and it's really powerful stuff. So if you want to see what that's like, come around to my channel on Saturday at 2 p.m. and enjoy yourself. Crack open a beer and just relax.
Okay, Nacho, who are you? What are you? How are you? And why are you?
Hell, Nacho Witness. I do Nacho Witnessy things. Find me at Nacho Witness pretty much wherever on social media. And I am because I am.
You are because you think. You am because you think. I think therefore you am or something.
I am who I am. Is that what God said?
I is.
Maybe.
I am who I am. Yeah, it was Jesus or something.
Okay, so Mr. Drop Bear, who are you? What are you? Are you? How are you? Why are you? Those questions. Who, what, when, where, how, and why. When are you? When are you?
Good journalism there.
I'm great, aren't
yeah.
I?
Well, tonight I'm intermittent bear, really. Mr. Bear Atheist, you can see me on YouTube, social media, and I just respond to religious videos with some humor.
Fair enough. You've got some good ones too. Everyone should go check them out. Sarah, who are you? What are you? When are you? Why are you? How are you? That shit.
Well, I am Sarah Michelle. I have a YouTube channel. I cover so many different
everything.
trends, issues, politics, atheism. I usually go through the philosophical when I talk about atheism, not so much religion. But yeah, I actually did a anti-Islam. I cover Islam and Christianity equally. Don't focus so much on only on one. Because I don't know. I just talk about a lot of things, and eventually some drama. I keep getting myself into stupid dramas, and
you're amazing at that.
No.
You know what? You are a pro.
I don't like it, but I just keep getting myself into bullshit.
You do. It's impressive.
People enjoy watching, so I just keep giving them.
Sam, who are you? What are you? When are you? Why are you? How are you?
So I'm Vagrant Sam. You can technically find me on YouTube and Twitch. I've been a bit distracted the last month or so. I've got a house move coming up, but I will be getting back to it as soon as possible. I think I'm about to pack my camera gear up, so probably not soon, but please go check it out. There are some old videos there that are still worth a watch, including some old Christian hip-hop I used to do. And I'll be trying to make sure I get back into doing some twitching on Tuesdays and Fridays before Sixpack. You'll be able to find me on Sixpack as well on Friday, but I will have a short hiatus while I'm moving house. So this is the last week to catch a good Sixpack. No, wait, sorry. No, this is a chance to catch a normal Sixpack.
Come on, Sam.
So
it's never the same when you're not on.
Basically, if you want to subscribe to me, just subscribe to Chris's channel, because that's where you'll probably see me most.
By proxy.
Yeah.
I've got to give him half.
What was that, Chris?
I said when I get monetized, I've got to give him half.
In perpetuity.
Yeah. Oh,
And don't sue each other.
for me, well, you're on my channel. I'm Meredith. Nevada is my channel, and well, you're on my channel, so you should know what I do. But if you don't, welcome to my channel. I just do stuff. Like, subscribe, share, blah blah blah.
Hit that bell and join the Mirror Squad.
Yeah.
Smash it.
That's what YouTubers do, isn't it?
Band of YouTube people.
I do want to say a very, very big thank you to everyone for coming. Thank you for being here. Also, big thank you to all of the people in the chat for hanging out with us as well. And hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, night, whatever time you are currently experiencing. And yeah, don't forget, don't give yourself the raw prawn.
And don't be a cunt muffin and try and smuggle yourself into state.
Yeah, don't do that either.
Stay home. Jesus Christ.